Hey, Kent.
Hey, David.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Doing pretty well. This is another episode of
Dudes in Kansas show.
Dudes in Kansas show. And this would be our... Oh, we got our page shifted. That's all right. This would be our which episode?
I would think it would be either our third or our fourth. I don't know. It depends. We have 4 videos, but it's technically our third actual sitting.
Our third sitting, but we divided our first video, which ran a little long. Our first podcast ran a little long. It was around 45 minutes, and we shortened it to 2 separate videos and broke that into a part 1A and part 1B. So, yeah, this would be our 4th episode on either YouTube or Podbean, are our 2 outlets, and or iTunes. You can find us in podcasts on iTunes. And here we go.
Yes, here we are, David. So, how was your week today?
Oh,
or this week. How was your week today?
You've had a long week. I know that.
I have had a long week. My goodness, David. But tell me about your week,
okay.
And we'll go into my long dissertation on mine.
All right. My week was pretty good. Had quite a bit of activity in the architectural world this week. Trying to think. We've got a project that is just starting under demolition on site, and so my manager was out there checking out how things were starting out, and been working on another project, a tenant finish, around 3,100 square feet tenant finish for a medical office space. So pretty par for the course. I did a lot of code evaluation at the end of the week, which is it's necessary but not fun. That's about it.
Well, fantastic, buddy. For all you listeners out there, what I do for a living is I kill dandelions. Yes, I do. And, oh, by the way, I make your grass green in the middle of it too. I do not mow lawns. I'm a licensed applicator for the state of Kansas to apply pesticides and herbicides on your lawn.
Nice.
So I'm like a true green, per se. I have a spray rig, and I have a spreader, and it's just me out there. And my 65-year-old man who goes out there with me as well. And this week was a very, very wonderful week because there was no snow.
That's always great.
Relatively low wind.
And it was warm. Hot dog.
The last 2 weeks in Kansas have been absolutely disastrous for any type of outdoors work because, last week the wind was blowing at 50 plus miles an hour.
It was, yeah.
And the previous week there was snow in the ground.
Mm-hmm. So
it was really nice to get out there and hit it hard. And have we been hitting it hard? Double routes, trying to catch up. And so, yes, I'm a little tired tonight, but we're going to do this. We're going to have some fun.
Absolutely.
And, keep trucking along as we usually do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, David, our first topic of business, I always love to talk about news.
News?
And
okay.
Not just any type of news. It's the funny news. Mm-hmm. And this funny news is a couple weeks old because it's been about 2 weeks since we've had a recorded podcast, and it is what I would like to call, and forgive me, I got to check my notes down here. It's called the parking lot standoff. Okay, yes, and this comes from Lawrence, Kansas. Like, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Right, we're going old school here.
Yeah,
right?
Standoff.
Pulling
high noon on Main Street.
Exactly. So the story goes, all right, that we are in a retail parking lot.
Okay.
And we have a car coming off a busy intersection, and we have a car leaving the retail parking lot. Now, for some odd reason, I don't know the details. This is the funny part about it. They locked horns. They didn't actually butt heads. They didn't actually wreck or anything, but they got into a standoff where one needed to move so the other one could go, and neither one of them wanted to leave.
Okay. They just sat there staring at each other, waiting for the other one to make a move.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. So
Interesting.
So the parking lot standoff goes for a while. And how I heard about this was supposedly the Lawrence Police Department tweeted the parking lot standoff because they were called to this retail place to help not escalate, but
de-escalate the standoff.
The situation. Yeah. But since it's on private property, retail is on private property.
Yeah, it's a private parking lot. It's not public.
That's right. They had no power to do anything.
Oh, crap.
Yes. So here we are. We got these two people, and the officers have asked both of them to leave, and both of them to move, and they both were standing their ground. They were like, nope, I shouldn't have to move. And then the other person was like, no, I feel like it would be a hazard if I put my car in reverse. So, no, I'm not moving either. So this went on for a couple hours. Yes, a couple of hours. I said that.
What is the matter with people? Why are they sitting there not moving? It's make a decision and go.
Yes.
It's he who hesitates, well, we're not going to finish the rhyme on that one, but he who hesitates is just, you got to move. Come on, people.
I would think it'd be a big waste of time if I was going to sit behind my car, but I'm a type of guy that's kind of aggressive, and I'll just get out of the way and get where I need to go.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently the officers had to leave because they actually had actual business they needed to conduct other than, babysitting these two people who were in the Great Lawrence parking lot standoff.
Nice.
And supposedly this made some national attention. Again,
Kansas in the national news for ridiculous reasons. Well, what can I say? At least we make national news occasionally.
That's right. So in lieu of our parking lot standoff, have you ever been in a parking lot standoff?
No, because most of the time I look both ways. And when I got a chance, I'm a big fan of parking backwards, backing into the spot. It avoids issues when you're pulling out.
That's correct.
Because you can see everybody coming. You don't have the blind spots where you're having to try to turn around or navigate with. You're not relying on a backup camera. You're using your own two eyes and you're just moving forward, which is the easiest way to drive your car. Backing in, takes a little bit of practice, but it's actually it's a lot easier to back into spots, I think, as long as somebody's not right behind you and doesn't understand, oh, well, hey, that guy's going to back up into that spot. But I just zip out and I'm gone.
That's correct.
That's me.
And you know what? That's part of, what they call the Smith defense driving, is you always back into parking spots because your environment is always changing.
It is.
Before you get into your car, you should always be doing what they call a circle of safety, where you walk around your car to make sure that there's nothing that has got an obstruction of your view or maybe a little
underneath the car.
That's right. So, no, that's very good. I can't say I've ever been in a parking lot standoff. And if I ever was in a parking lot standoff, I don't think I'd waste my time. I'd probably just reverse it, but I would probably spin my tires getting out of there.
Yeah, you would. You'd be hopping mad, and
That's right.
As you left,
I would make note and leave a black mark. Maybe puff a little smoke in their area. And say, you won, but here you go.
Here you go. Take the spot, whatever.
Yeah, that's right. Because like I said, life is too short to be
sitting in your car for hours in a parking lot sounds like a total waste of my time.
That's right. No parking lot standoff for me.
Me either. I agree.
David, see any good movies lately?
My movie watching time has been driving while the kids watch a movie in the back. And last trip they were watching Milo and Otis on the way back. Okay. That's I believe that was an early 90s American release. It was originally a Japanese movie. I had no idea till we were looking at the back. I was like, oh, late 80s? So it's technically an 80s movie. Fuji Television, I believe, was the producer in Japan. But yeah, Milo and Otis for all those kids of the 90s who would have been watching it. And I've been trying to get my wife to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, I need to see that.
And I do too. It's on Netflix, and she's typically been tired in the evenings. Not, she chases kids all day long and
Understandable.
feels insane most of the time, and that's okay. And I don't blame her at all because it's a tough job raising children. And so when she's, no, I don't want to watch a movie, I'm like, okay. But we have watched a couple shows. We like to watch Grand Tour.
Oh, fantastic.
On Amazon Prime.
Fantastic. I did have a family movie night last week.
Okay.
We watched that brand new Transformers movie. And, it's like all the other Transformers movies. But what I wanted to talk about is, David, I want to see if you remember a phone booth.
Oh, yeah.
History class.
Yes.
2 surfer dudes in a band.
Shut up, Ted.
Yes. It's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
And I just heard this week that they're going to release a brand new one, a third.
Okay.
And with both Keanu Reeves and I believe the other guy was, I have his name written down here, Alex Winter.
Gotcha.
They're both going to star in it. And it should be totally awesome. I don't know if did you ever see Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure?
Oh, the Bogus Journeys? Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, so at that time when the movie was released, at least it was on HBO back in the day, my father worked on the North Slope of Alaska. So he'd spend 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off of the slope working. And so he'd go up there and he'd have, great food and access to all these kind of movie stations at the time, HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, and he'd record the movies that he really liked on VHS, and he'd bring them back, and we would watch them. And totally awesome. I remember he said, "You're going to love this movie, David. You're going to love it." And it was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And I think I watched that tape till it was bare. It was one of my favorite movies back from that time period. I wanted the phone booth because I wanted to travel in time because I've always been kind of a history nerdy guy like that.
That is awesome. Excuse me. Yeah. By the way, that movie came out around February of 1989.
1989. Okay.
Yes,
nice. In the theater.
In the theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which puts us right around 8 or 9 years old.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That was a good time. I remember watching it with my brother as well. And I watched it a couple of times. It's fun for the first few times, and then all the dudes and all that kind of stuff. No way. And the surfer stuff, it was awesome. And my kid brother, Robert, he now lives in Minnesota. He loved that movie.
Yeah.
That was his movie, along with Spaceballs. I don't know if you remember the movie Spaceballs.
Absolutely. I think most of our generation grew up with some good Mel Brooks flicks.
Yes.
That unfortunately could not be made in this day and age because we're all such uptight people. But
that's so true. Like those comedies back in the day have it's just such a different genre today.
Yes, it is.
It's like everything is so edited. There's no actual, like, those guys were like hardcore acting when it, and ad-libbing, and now today's day, it's literally just a ed and cut. It's just a different movie.
There's a lot of ad lib. However, it seems like humor has become something more of say something inappropriate and wait for a reaction from your audience, as opposed to the kind of classic setup and knock down of the past. Or you'd say something that was just a little off, where I see that your Schwartz is as big as mine. You're doing that kind of playful banter of a classic element and then playing off of it with something inappropriate and something contextual for the movie. It's just, to me, it was a more creative time period.
David, you said that so eloquent. I mean, you speak such wonderful volumes of education. I just think, yeah, I can't. I can't say it any better. Good job, David. Anyways, yeah, you been playing any games lately?
No, I have not actually. I go through bouts of shifting here and there. I'll play a game, I'll read, I'll be listening to audiobooks, that kind of stuff. So right now I'm in my audiobook phase. I'm not playing many games. How about yourself?
Well, yeah, actually. All right, so they had this really cool go-kart track in town, which unfortunately they closed and they moved back to Tulsa. And I was so bored. I was so bummed. I mean, I went to this go-kart track once a week. I took my son another day a week. So literally we were faithful 2-weekers. I was gunning for the top time. And then of course they closed down, and I went through a bit of a denial phase. Yes, I was so bummed.
Yeah, I think we all would.
And Extreme go-karting in Tulsa, if you are listening, I miss you. Please,
we miss you.
Please come back. But in the meantime, I've had to fulfill my creativeness to this game called, I think I've talked about in previous podcasts, Forza 4, New Horizons. It's on the Xbox One. By far an awesome race car game. And I call it Power Hour. So I literally try to get at least a little bit of racing on my racing simulator that I have for at least 1 hour. And that way I try to fulfill a little bit of my extreme go-karting, which unfortunately is not working that well. And by the way, when I say extreme go-karting, okay, folks of the viewing or listening audience, these weren't just your normal rundown go-karts that you hit at your local, play it again arcades or anything. These go-karts were electric and they did 45 miles per hour. These things were the real deal, and I had so much fun.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that'd be fun going 45 miles an hour in a tiny go-kart with no windshield, no nothing. You're just your helmet.
You had to wear a helmet. You had to sign a waiver saying if you get hurt, you're not going to sue this place. Yeah. And if you break the go-kart,
typical nowadays.
You're on it, buddy.
Yeah.
And dude, there's some ruthless drivers out there.
Oh, there's ruthless drivers on the road. There's ruthless drivers on the track. There's got to be.
And it was fun. Rubbing is racing.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, I've been playing this video game. I try to get a little bit of Power Hour in there. I got my son. He's got an Xbox One, so we'll go on there. We'll race. So, we've been having a lot of fun with that just this past week. That's how we do some bonding in the cold winter months before sports season gets back into full swing.
Yeah.
So,
so when you say Power Hour, is that 1 hour a day, or is that a power hour whenever you can get it in?
Well, recently, David, it's whenever I can get it in. I would love to play every day, but life does not allow that for me.
Okay, yeah.
But power hour is definitely, when we play, we try to play for an hour, and it's power. I mean, we just try to get as much racing as we can get done in 1 hour, and then we shut it off.
That's a good way to kind of compartmentalize, get something done, because you give yourself a time limit, and so you maximize that experience in that time instead of kind of having that endless. Because then the boy, he doesn't think, well, this just goes on forever. It's okay, I got this amount of time to do it. That's a good teaching tool, I think.
Oh, well, thank you. For me, it was, you could get stuck playing these games for hours. I remember I played one Sunday for like 3 hours. I was like, holy cow, I could literally drive to another town. I could drive to a major city in 3 hours. And I'm thinking, I'm sitting here playing a video game for 3 hours. So I came up with the power hour, get 1 hour racing, and then go do something else.
Well, that's an excellent framework to work with. Yeah.
I appreciate
love that,
David.
That's great, man.
Thank you. Hey, is there anything you want to talk about before we let the good audience go?
Well, I'd mentioned that like right now is my audiobook listening time period. I do anything from go to the library and check out audiobooks to there's a couple apps out there, but I use Audible quite a bit as well. And right now I've been listening to a group of 3 audiobooks. It's actually 6 books that are then done into these 3 audiobooks by Michael J. Sullivan. and the first one's called Theft of Swords. Then Return of the Empire. No, Rise of the Empire and Return of the Era of Navron. That's what it is. And I'm on the last audiobook, on the last book. So everything's coming to a culmination right now. And it's a action adventure in a parallel world in like medieval ancient times, and two main characters are a thief and a warrior. So it's just kind of cool. It's called the Riyria Revelations, or Riyria Revelations. So a lot of fun.
Wow, very fascinating. Good stuff.
Something new and something exciting. I don't always get the time to sit down and read, but I get the chance to listen on my way to and from work, and sometimes while I'm at work. But
fantastic. Well, hey, David, that's 20 minutes, buddy. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. That it flew by faster than I thought it would.
Exactly. Let's let our good listeners go. Hey, out there, David, please give them our throwdown. Please subscribe to our
podcast and or YouTube channel. We're on Podbean, we're on YouTube, and you can find us on iTunes. So if you like it, hit subscribe. Please leave comments. Constructive comments and criticism is always looked favorably upon. We can learn, we can make this better. If you like what you listen to, let's do it better and do it right. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it, buddy.
See ya.